Hi, AfterBuzzers. You're watching the AfterBuzz TV After Show for Containment, Season 1, Episode 2, I to Die, You to Live. Join us as we break down the episode and give you our thoughts and predictions. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Till I die, till I die, on the east side till I die.
Yes, party music. There was some partying going on in this episode, which we will get to. But before we get to that, I'm your host, Katie Campbell, and you can find me on Twitter at KatieEE Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's Campbell. And joining me tonight are two amazing people, 4 to 6 feet away from me, though. We got Gabriel Gonzalez over here.
Hey guys, you can find me on Twitter at Double G on TV.
And the amazing Tiona Hobson.
Hello, everyone. You can find me at the Tiona Hobson on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, and before we get started, I just want to remind you guys to please subscribe to us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. We are also on iTunes and SoundCloud. Give us that 5-star thumbs up, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and tweet us using the hashtag ABTV Containment. So, tonight's episode, episode 2 of the series, how are you guys feeling with this episode?
Achoo. No, sorry.
Get away from me. No, it's getting, like, after last week, I wasn't sure what direction they were going to take with the show, and I was like, I'm so excited, but I'm also so nervous. Like, am I going to like it? Am I not going to like it? And I have to say, episode 2 didn't disappoint. It still has me so involved, and I feel like I'm invested now, where I'm like, who is going to catch it next? Which one of the people who we, like, love and are rooting for right now is going to, you know, be the first to catch it? And all I keep seeing are the flash forwards that we saw last week of people, like, running around crazy in the school bus and, you know, just screaming, babies being held, like, crying, and I'm just like, oh my god, I have to see how we get there.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
They're keeping that ick factor really high, just right off that first scene where they're doing the biopsy. Mm-hmm. And I like how, you know what, they're warming us up for it. You know, it was nasty last week, it was a little nastier this week, and we all know what's coming in a few episodes, so they did a good job of keeping us on our toes, like, it's going to get bad, and we're waiting for it now. We don't know. It's like one of them sneezes, oh, this is where it starts.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it.
And I was on Twitter earlier, and Julie Plec was tweeting with the East Coast viewing. I don't know if she did it with the West Coast as well, but one of her first tweets was, there was so much more to that autopsy scene that got cut out.
Oh, like more disgusting?
Like more just ick factor, like... grossness stuff.
I'm good with that though. I gotta sleep tonight, you know. I gotta go to the pharmacy, pick up some vitamins. I can't be thinking about that.
I mean, I was just on the plane last night and someone started sneezing and I turned to my friend, I was like, this is how we all died. This is how it starts. He is patient 0.
Yeah, and you're contained in a plane.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, that's so...
a box in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a feeling it's going to get way more gross as the episodes go on, and we keep meeting all of these, you know, new characters. There's so many characters, so I feel like with the introduction of all of them, there's going to be a lot of them that die.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something right there.
Yeah. Speaking about Dr. Cannerts, the episode opened up with this biopsy that he was doing, and it was gross and everything. You guys were telling me before we went live here that you have some suspicions about Dr. Cannerts, which I thought was interesting because I didn't catch it.
Katie, that's because you're just a very nice person. You're a lover of love.
Yeah.
If you watch any of Katie's other shows, you know that she's just like the happiest person who just doesn't see the bad in people. And since episode 1, Dr. Cannerts is just something about the way he's so quiet and mysterious and kind of like...
It's always the quiet ones?
It's always the quiet ones. And then tonight he even said when Katie pointed out the fact that the news reports had the bodies, like, who died first wrong, and he was like, some people's immune systems are stronger than others, and like that was it. And I was like, but we are controlling, Sabine said earlier, we're controlling what the news people are reporting because they only report what we tell them to report.
Right.
No one knew, like, why did we purposely say that he died first?
See, what I think though, when I'm looking at that scene, you know, because she asks, it's like, so when they do say it's over, which one of you guys is letting us go? And suddenly, you know, he has that moment. It's like, if you guys are released, and then she kind of makes him say when. So that tells me, like, okay, he's not a malicious, but he's got to be on Team Cannerts. Remember, he's in that hospital too. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you know, at the end of the day, he's looking out for himself. He's not trying to throw Katie under the bus, but he will run her over with that ambulance if he has to.
Well, don't you think they're just maybe, you know, keeping some information from the public just to protect them in a way? Because it's going to get more chaotic if everything's released, because things are only theories sometimes and it's not just all true information yet until it's confirmed.
I feel like we're going to see Dr. Cannerts he's going to get to the line. You know, all of these characters, they're going to get to that line where they pick, you know, the order or their humanity. You know, like, do I tell Katie, hey, the kids are going to die in 10 hours? Or do I say, you know, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
The CDC is going to save us. He's going to reach that line just like a lot of them are. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, do you think that Sabine would ever reach that line?
I think she's already over it.
Well, right now I just don't think she has anything that on the other side that's really tied to her. So
Yeah.
she is probably the most level-headed person at this point, just because she doesn't have any connections across the wall, if you per se.
Yeah.
I want to throw that one to you guys. So one of the characters that we've heard about but we haven't talked about are the grandparents of Quentin and Katie. We haven't seen them on camera, and I thought, you know, could it be Lummers, the grandma? Because she seems like the kind of woman who would be that kind of angry stepmother.
But her name's Sabine.
Oh, wait. What
And
did they
Grace
say?
is the
Grace is-
name.
Okay, my bad. You know, I haven't been paying attention. I'm sorry,
okay.
America.
No, that's okay. But do you guys think maybe Sabine does have somebody over there that she doesn't know at, you know, maybe later in the future?
I
we'll
feel
learn
like
about
she's just someone who's like, because the I don't know. I feel like she's someone who's flown in for this sort of event, and that her ties are maybe in like New York or DC or somewhere else and not here.
Well, we did talk about the possibility if this is the terrorism, you know, we might be in other cities.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But I didn't catch it last week that those two, the doctors, died before the patient zero.
I didn't, like, I remember it happening now, but
Right.
in my mind it didn't affect anything. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, they died before him.
Do you think it is because people get sick differently? I mean, I think that's totally true. Like, if I get a cold, you know, you might be different with the same cold. It doesn't affect you as hard, or, you know, maybe it affects you harder. Do you think that's what it is?
I feel like that was Canner's trying to contain the mass hysteria. Like, you know, he didn't want to let Katie know just how fast those bodies are falling when they get sick. I feel like that's where that came from. And also on the show, they went through the body count really quick. You know, because so it's like, did they all die at the same time? The pacing felt like it. So I think that's where a bit of that confusion is coming from.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like it was a way to hide how quickly the virus is adapting and changing and spreading at a faster rate through the
Okay.
body.
Oh, so then it's
Like,
going to be
it's-
like different strains
I forget
of it?
the exact words, like being manipulated, because in the movie, not Contagion, Outbreak, you know, the virus, it starts off as one strand and then it kind of adjusts and adapts to its
Mutates.
surrounding, it mutates itself. And so I think that the doctors dying before him is maybe a sign of the mutation happening a lot quicker
Yeah.
from patient zero to even the first victims.
Because an outbreak, isn't it only through blood and then it becomes airborne? And
Yes.
Everyone's screwed.
Is this one going to become airborne?
Oh, Atlanta is going down.
Yes.
Like, we're gonna have to drop a nuclear bomb on Atlanta just to like
The whole
try to
city.
contain
You're just
everything.
hooked on that bomb idea. They're not gonna make it.
I don't
Episode
want to
15
do it.
is over.
Yeah.
At this point, like, I don't know how to designate who's safe and who's not, and I know that's what Sabine's thinking. She's over there like, "Where's the button? Let's just press the mass
That's-
destruction
Probably.
It's
button."
true.
She doesn't want to let anybody out of there.
No.
Even if they're not sick. I mean, I don't know. How can you kind of tell? You'd have to put them in their own separate quarantine for a little bit that's different than the quarantine of the sick people. But everyone outside it's chaos and everyone's mad and they want to get in there to their family. I just think these people are crazy. Like, there's something scary going on. They need to watch the news and they need to not want to get in there so badly.
I mean, they're trying to get to. I understand they're trying to get to their loved ones, and because you never know what you can and can't believe in the media, and it feels like no one's sharing how serious of a problem this virus is. If they think it's just like, oh, they kept saying flu-like symptoms. So if you're thinking, oh, it's a flu virus, why is this such a big deal that I cannot get to my home right now? Like, and then you have to think about it, the people who are stuck outside, who live on the inside, they have nowhere to go, possibly, out there.
Hotel.
You know, I mean,
I don't know. I feel like Atlanta is in LA,
really
but that's a lot of money. Good, and it's about to be more than 2 days. You know.
Yeah, and you don't know how long you have to be away from your family, your house, your pets.
Yep,
you know, it's like who's taking care of all of this stuff for you right now. So, I mean, I get it, and I think that if maybe people were being more honest with the public of how bad that the outbreak actually is, then maybe people would actually listen to officers.
Definitely. Did you want to add something?
Well, I was going to say, speaking of, you know, who's conveying this stuff to the public, we have Lex, who steps up to the plate and he becomes the face of the people. Right. And how did you guys feel about the Leo Green character? He's with InThePerimeter.com. You know, he's trying to manipulate him, sort of. Did you think, like, any of the words that he was saying was true, that, you know, they're just using you as a mouthpiece, and with mouthpieces there's secrets, and I don't know.
I think so, yeah. Leo Green's definitely right, but I bet you anything, Leo Green is trying to do the same thing. It's just, you know, he's trying to come at Lex a different way. He's trying to play to that side where he's like, you know, hey, man, I thought you were about helping the people like I am. But then Green is going to be the one who says, you know what, this is the inside scoop, everybody run. And then, you know, it's going to add to that hysteria. So I think Green is coming at it from his own personal angle. He's not, I don't trust him.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I don't trust him, but I also believe when he says that Lex is being used, because I don't think that Sabine is being fully honest with him. Yeah. And I do think that he's being told what to say in a way, but he also means what he's saying. He also means, like, hey guys, this is a dangerous situation. You guys need to trust us, and, you know, he has to be someone who the people trust and enjoy, which is why that, you know, video going viral was a good thing for the police department. But at the same time, he is being used as a mouthpiece. And when you bring in the racial factor into it with the bioterrorism, it's like, okay, to distract from the part where we're saying, like, the Muslim is responsible, we're gonna have the black person come in front of everyone to speak, because it's like, okay, you know, we're not being racist about this because there's a black man talking right now.
That's interesting. And it's scary too, because do you think that he could break because of all of that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think I talked about it last week. You know, him and Xander, they're pretty tight. And look, I think Lex is going to be that first character. He's got the most pressure on him. I think he's going to be the first one where he's going to be torn between making that selfish decision and making the right decision as far as trying to save Jana and all that. But he has that pressure. All the cameras are on him.
Yeah.
And that's what I keep going back to it. Xander is going to come into play because they both have that same kind of fire, and we don't know which one is actually going to be the one who makes a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Lex did tonight. He didn't tell Jana about, you know, the storage unit, container, shipping yard blocks, basically, that were going to be put up. He was like, look, there's going to be some things about this that I can't tell you about, and he kind of kept his word to that. So I know last week I was like, he's going to be the first one to crack. I kind of feel like he might not
stick in for a while.
He might stick in for a while.
Yeah.
I agree.
And speaking about Jana, she finally calls him back. That frustrated me.
Now.
But now I think that she's actually very smart. I like what she did. She went to her work. She knows there's a sanitized area, that she was going to go in there. She got in her little uniform and everything. And she looked in the fridge thinking about, you know, food, which was, there was like no food in there, which was really unfortunate. But I think she's smart.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely tell that she has street smarts and that she's been on her own before, which they, you know, hint at a lot with, you know, the foster system and all that stuff with her and Susie. So I think you're just seeing her natural instincts start to come out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't help her for too long, because now she's got all those coworkers who they like to get right up in each other's business in more ways than one.
Yeah.
We're not lost on that. So
well, we have Susie Dennis, right? Dennis is
Yes.
his name, and Toby now, who's introduced. And they all make their way into her little safe area, into the workplace. Did you guys think maybe one of them is infected? Maybe Toby?
My
He's
bet's
gotta
on
be.
Toby. He said he slept in the car last night, but I didn't see that, so I don't trust you.
Wait, could he? Well, okay, now I'm worried to make a prediction. Worried I miss a character. Could Toby have been like the Uber driver for Lizzie? I just
No, they
connected
said
those
they
dots.
had the driver.
They had the
They
driver.
did? Okay.
Yeah, they had
Man,
the
oh,
driver.
over 2. I don't like tonight's show. Anyway, but you know what? I feel like it. I think Dennis might be that wild card. You know what? It just, karma
Yeah.
coming back to him. I feel like that could be a factor. So, but
you
it's
think-
one of the 3.
Do you think that they're having an affair, or is it just that she has a crush on him? Okay.
Yeah.
Happy
There's something
hour.
going on there.
Thank you.
Okay, so
So, fun fact
Yeah.
that I was looking at Joe, trying to figure out where I know him from. Julie Pleck just tweeted out, anyone recognize Dennis from the originals? He's Joe.
Joe. Which
Joe
one's
on the originals. He was like the bartender or something on the originals, and he was the witch who last
Where?
season
Okay.
on the originals he played Joe. Just
That's cool though.
different sidebar, but just more of the Vampire Diaries originals family showing up in Containment.
I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see some more of that
I just
too.
need to join you guys on that show. Catch myself up. I
Yeah.
feel lost right now.
I love her shows. So Toby also though is very untrustworthy because he didn't get the groceries. So I don't know. I'm a little scared about him.
He shouldn't get any of the food that they've already rationed out for
Yeah.
Right.
themselves.
Well, did we actually see them let him in, or just kind of it was
I think they did.
implied?
Yeah.
Implied they did.
Okay. Well, more things that we have going on inside the cordon is at the hospital, which started out in quarantine itself inside the cordon. And by the end of the episode, it's no longer in quarantine. But we have Katie and the kids in there and Jake. And I'm loving what's going on between Katie and Jake. I feel like they're really trying to build that up for us.
They are, which I think is going to be very interesting because I also just don't think anyone's going to live past episode 13.
Everybody?
So, everybody's going to die.
So you're
No.
saying you don't want to see Jake get
No,
Katie
I'm
out of
saying
there?
I want to see it, but my
not gonna
mind is
happen.
like they're gonna die in each other's arms at this point because
That's
I don't
sad.
see how anyone is going to survive this at this point. In episode 2, there is no ending that's good for anyone involved. In Tiana's mind, only Tiana's mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a logical thought, though, because the show is going south quick
Nobody's
with
safe.
their health.
Like everyone is dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The death rate of the actors coming in for these roles, it's like, great, you're on a TV show. Also, you're dying in like
Yeah,
5
yeah.
minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
It's like, don't get comfortable. You ain't going to be here long.
Like, Lizzie, you're not gonna have any words for this episode.
She
You
did
don't
it.
have any lines, but you're gonna come in like a wrecking ball and then you're gonna die.
Oh, and she looked terrible
Yeah.
half the time. Blood running down her face.
Yeah.
There's like green stuff on her face. I don't even know what that is, but well,
That's someone winning an Emmy in the special effects department. No,
Yeah,
hey,
there
you
you
know
go.
who you are, man. Great job. You got my vote.
so none of the kids are sick, including Brittany, who has probably just hay fever.
Just like her
What's that again?
mama's
No.
her mama's boyfriend said.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, which is nice, but I'm scared. I don't want any of the kids to die. That's going to be a sad thing. But I think somebody's going to die.
they're
I'm worried
not
about
safe.
Quentin and Katie, his mom. They don't really touch, but they share the phone when Grace is calling and she wants to speak to Quentin. She's passing the phone off. But I mean, if it becomes airborne, then it's
Yeah.
a big problem. But what if like you're sweating on your face?
That is true.
It's true.
I didn't think about that one, but I'm glad you did because that is very true. Like the cell phone getting past can be dangerous.
I
Yeah.
think, you know what, more than that, I think what would be heartbreaking is if somehow, let's say Katie does get sick, and before she realizes she is infected, she knows, when she finds out, she realizes she's already infected Quentin. That, I think, that would be the heartbreaker for me. It's like the mom gets the son sick, like, wow, it got real.
Yeah, that's scary and sad. How do you guys feel about Jake and Lex and everything that's going on with the two of them? Because Lex is kind of relying on Jake to be, you know, soldier in there and stand up, and it's coming from a good place. But at the same time, Jake feels like, oh, really? You sent me in here. You sent me on this mission. I got stuck here. I'm in danger.
I want to learn more about his anger issues because he gets so angry so quick. And
I bet you want to learn more about that.
I'm just saying, like, it just seems like there's no warning. It's just, you know, go from 0 to 150 in 1 second.
Yeah.
For what seems like a normal, like, I understand that that Lex sent you in there, but he also sent other guys in there too to go grab patient 0. He didn't know this was going to happen. It's not directly his fault. I understand you're frustrated, but the amount of anger and like the beating of the walls and stuff like that is what concerns me about Jake, because that quick switch that just goes off.
I actually like it because of all the characters, I feel like Jake is the most fleshed out and you can understand where he's coming from. Think about it. We see in the first scene, he's not this racially charged cop. They show, hey, he's one of the good guys. He's, okay, Lex, you violated the bro code. He's dating his ex, and still Jake is cool with him. And now his best friend goes and puts him in quarantine where he's about to die. You know what? He has a right to be mad. And so when I see that, I'm like, you know what? That's how you should be feeling that. You should be feeling angry. You should feel ready to make some bad decisions, even though you know it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's locked in there. He might be about to die.
Just as an officer, you need to hold it together. Like, I'm on Katie's side with this. There are little kids in there, 10 and 11-year-old kids who are scared, who haven't seen their parents in days. And the one officer who's there needs to have his shit together.
Yeah, he's banging
in front
the
of
wall.
them. He's banging the wall and going crazy in front of these kids. And it's like, what are the kids supposed to think? You're supposed to be calming the public and the kids and making people feel safe. That is your job. He might be quarantined in here, but this is still his job. And the job's not finished. So that's why I'm like, Jake scares me.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, I think, you know what? We're going to see that anger. He's going to channel it positively, I think, by the end of this season. I think
hopefully.
Yeah, well, we also see he watches Katie take those pills, right? I mean, he was standing right
He had
there.
to have been close by. She was shaking, going crazy.
What were those? Was it like anxiety?
I'd put my money on anxiety, you know, and I think that's going to play into Katie's character. Is she able to hold it together? Because we already know she's going to be the mother figure on this show. So I think we're going to see her personal struggle, and now it's obviously amplified 100%.
Well, you know what? And if she lives through this, I feel like it's a really good story because she gets pushed to the limits to deal with her anxiety and face it, because she's going to stand up and be, you know, brave for these kids. And then she could stand up for herself and be like, you know what? I am a good mom and I've been taking care of Quentin. And you know what? Grace and husband, I can do this.
Grace and husband.
It's a good story.
Katie, I got to see you do the finger thing one more time.
Grace. Okay. Also in the hospital, we have Bert, Grandpa Bert, who is just so sweet. Him and his wife. What is her name?
Micheline.
Micheline and Bert, who, according to Julie Plec, are the only 70-year-olds on the CW.
Oh,
how cute is that?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just on her Twitter feed right now.
No, I love it. I love it.
Reading everything Julie Plec tweets.
I love these tidbits.
I gotta say, Bert, I'm not gonna lie, he creeped me out a lot last week. I think seeing
really?
him now, yeah.
Why?
You know,
Because he was
Well,
with
remember,
the
he
kids?
took the kids.
you don't just take a group of kids
Sweet
randomly.
grandpa.
He didn't tell the teacher he was taking the kids out of the quarantine area. So
Well,
he did
That is
come
to
off
catch
a
a
little...
predator level.
But he's 70.
Creepy. Okay, you know, he did change my mind. Now that, hey, he's right there with Katie, I don't want to see anything bad happen to Bert now. You know, I'm glad we saw this side of him, but the last episode, I just thought that was a little too much. But you know what? He redeemed himself. You know, Bert, don't die.
Yeah, and he's really sweet. He's worried about his wife. He's checking in on her, making sure that she's okay. He's, you know, calling his granddaughter to go get her groceries, which, by the way, I was so freaked out at who was banging on the door trying to get into the grandmother's house. Did you guys think it was Teresa?
Once I saw the figure, I was like, okay, it's just her granddaughter. But before that, I was like, is she going to say, hey, someone's here? Or, you know, because looting is a real thing in these kinds of situations.
Oh, yeah.
So it could have been someone trying to break in and grab whatever they could because they thought no one was home.
For some reason, I actually thought it was going to be a police officer because I thought they haven't shown it, but maybe she's also in the building because it looked like they were in something pretty tall, right? So I thought maybe she's just on another floor as the party, as Lizzie, and they were going to touch on that.
Okay, yeah. But is she on the first floor, though? Because she is in
She
a
is in a
wheelchair.
wheelchair.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's 4 walls.
Yeah.
Could make it. She could be on the back part of the building. Lizzie was in the front apartment, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's true. The thing that it's scary too because Teresa comes in with all these groceries and she's gonna make a sandwich for Grandma and she sees on the news that her friends were infected. So earlier in the episode, Teresa was at her mom's place, right? And her friend Amy's calling her, telling her to come to this party.
I didn't like Amy.
Oh, me neither. What are you doing? Do you see what's going on? Nobody's watching the news.
Well, no, this is a bunch of high schoolers whose parents are stuck on the other side. And so I barely watched the news as a 30-year-old adult. I probably would have been in the same boat as them, not realizing how serious it was.
Would you have been at the
Would I
party?
have been out partying? No. But I can understand how the high school kids are like, hey man, we're on lockdown, our parents aren't here, let's go crazy, let's have fun. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
Whose house? Oh my gosh. Did she say whose house that was? She did say whose house it was, but whose house? Did you say it was Toby?
I thought she said like Nick or something.
No, I thought it was a random character. I don't think it was connected.
No. She's at Toby's.
Really?
So, I mean, might be a different Toby. I remember that. Okay, Amy calling. She's at Toby's party because Toby's parents. Oh, he's totally infected. Toby's it.
Yeah.
He's it at BitScan Data Recovery.
But why is Toby a high schooler?
Intern.
I'm confused about that too.
He's an intern. Or not just high schoolers might be at that party, but college kids too. Maybe he's interning at college.
Maybe.
Partying with his younger classmates. You know. Well, Amy, it's not enough for Teresa to say, no, I can't come out.
Just all up in her face the whole time. She kept touching and, come on, just come party.
4
I'm
to
like,
6 feet?
she's 8 months pregnant. What do you want her at a party for?
She can't be drinking.
She's not going to
That's
be
what
able
I
to
was thinking.
drink.
It's like, what do you expect her to do? Drive you guys home?
Yeah, she's got a boyfriend, so she's not going to be playing spin the bottle.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just so many things at this party that I'm thinking, 8 months pregnant. You have no business being at this party.
Yeah. And she kissed her face. Fluids. Right there.
That's just bad friendship.
Do you think that she's infected?
Well, we haven't seen any of the symptoms come out of Amy yet, but,
Right.
you know, they did say that there was 30 plus kids at this party and they were all playing spin the bottle, probably sharing drinks. You know, we don't know where else Amy might have stopped on her way into the store. I mean, it's just getting really bad.
Yeah.
And wasn't she the one who knew Lizzie's name? Or was that one of the guys at the party?
No, it was a girl who said it.
Amy.
Yeah.
It was Amy.
Yeah, so
She knew
it's
Lizzie.
It's not looking good for the 3 of them.
They only took in 4 kids, right? The 3 of the kids at the party and then the driver.
Yeah.
So why didn't they take in all those 30?
Not all 30 stayed at the house.
Yes.
But there were some other people there as well, yes or no? It was just...
I
We
thought
saw
that...
the 2 people. It was Amy and a guy in the bedroom.
Right.
There was maybe someone on the couch
And in the kitchen,
and
on the
in
floor.
the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then Lizzie was in the bedroom.
Oh, okay.
That's
So-
5.
I feel like they're making that, you know, that the quarantine hall in the hospital. I feel like, you know, it's implied there's a lot more rooms, but they're also telling us they're all full now. And we still got more infected people out there. I feel like that's where they were going with that and not showing us everybody who's sick yet.
Oh, okay. It's just a full wing of sick people.
Yep.
Oh, no. Okay, well, Teresa, she tries to use bleach to...
I respect where her mind was at. She's trying to protect her grandma. I feel like out of all the people who have been possibly exposed to this, Teresa's the one who's acting smart in this situation. She's realizes I need to get out of here because I could infect her. I need to disinfect whatever I can. whether the bleach works or not will be determined still.
Right.
But at least she was thinking and got herself out of the situation.
Maybe it will work because I feel like Amy has to be sick and there has to be something that can at least put one of the strands off. Right?
Like, people have to go around drinking bleach to get rid of it.
I mean, not drinking bleach, but like if somebody touches you,
There's got to
I
be
don't
something
know.
to slow it down, something to kill
I just
it.
don't want to see a pregnant woman be infected.
I don't want to see the kids die, but I feel like no
okay.
one is safe. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I don't want her to die. I think she's one of my favorite characters. You know, she's like we talked about, sensible. So I'd want to see her make it, but she's in for a rough ride. You know,
Yeah.
it couldn't even be her. It could be Xander, like we talked about.
Yeah. And Lizzie Franklin, who was at the party, the cops go on this entire search for her because Jake finds a picture of her and one of the teens. What was he? Okay, so he was
like the cousin of Saeed.
Okay. Right. So maybe they're dating, whatever. They're at least friends. So she's infected. And how do they have the cameras? Are the cameras on the fence or where are those cameras? The surveillance
it's like
things.
street cameras.
Those all
Yes.
just street
Yeah,
surveillance.
you can just
Okay.
street surveillance. You can pick up facial recognition. They can find you. They can follow your car all through the city. This is real technology that's out there.
They have that around here everywhere.
Yeah, Big Brother's always watching.
Yep.
That kind of makes me feel safe though. I don't do anything wrong.
And so, in other words, you're someone who has nothing to hide.
Yeah.
Tiona?
I mean, I don't have anything to hide. I just don't always want people watching me either.
Right. But it's helpful in these kind of
It's helpful in
situations.
these kind of situations.
For the record, you're not going to find anything when you look for me. No. No, I think, it is one of those things, that debate is out there, is it making you safe or is it really just encroaching on your privacy? They're probably going to explore that a bit in the show because there are all these other subtle themes from the real world we're seeing it. So that might come into play.
Oh yeah.
If
that's
they
a good
really
point. I like that.
if they really go on a manhunt for somebody and we've already seen that they're willing to tackle race with the police, so that might escalate things. Everything, there's so many points of tension, you don't know which one they're going to pick to use it to escalate
That's
the
a good
whole
point.
situation.
Well, the last character that we haven't talked about yet is Xander, and he is so sweet to Teresa.
so great.
He's
He's such a good little boyfriend.
and he cares about her so much, though. It's just really sweet. But he also wants to break in, and I know you said last week that you think he's going to just go in there.
Oh, he's
and that's
going
what
to.
he was going to try again.
Another tweet from Julie.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Can't say enough good things about Xander, aka actor Demetrius B. Follow him. He'll be very famous very soon.
Oh.
So, I mean, Julie really believes in him.
So she's
love
saying he's
it.
not going to die quickly? I mean, I'm assuming he's going to be here a while, man.
I think she's just saying that he will be famous in life because he is so talented.
Okay, I'm just saying, I mean, we know it's Julie's fishbowl. We're all just watching them in it, so,
Well, he might have other projects, too, that are pushing him up there
No,
as well.
definitely.
But as Xander's trying to break in, he can't because there's storage containers, shipping containers
Yeah, right.
being put on top of. Is it being put around the entire thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that fence, as soon as they announced to the public that the lockdown is going to be longer than 48 hours, it's going to continue on indefinitely, is what they said.
Right.
That fence ain't going to hold nobody down. I'm surprised someone didn't try to drive a car through the barricade in the first place.
Yeah.
So you need something stronger and bigger and that people aren't going to be able to get.
For me, when I was thinking about the logistics of the fence, I thought, people have seen TV, someone busts a fire hydrant next to it, the water shorts it out, suddenly you got people jumping. I like the idea of the barricade because those things weigh a ton. People aren't just going to be able to push them over. You can't just drive a car right through them. So it's going to be, now it's more complicated. It's not just a matter of turning off the power switch.
So there's still like an aerial view of the whole cordon though, right? Like, so it's just kind of barricading the sides, but you can see if you're like a helicopter, or did they just shut the whole thing down over the top as well?
No, there's nothing on top.
Okay.
It's just a perimeter around.
Because I know we
If you
touched.
shut them in, then that's really just asking people to die because you're blocking out the sun, you're blocking out
Right, yeah.
fresh air.
There's
Okay,
no
yeah, that's a good
dome.
point.
There's no dome. It's
We're
just
a
walls.
dome.
Oh my gosh! And then it's like you're in the plane, like you were yesterday, with people
Yeah.
sneezing next to you.
And everyone just waiting to die.
Okay, that's a good point. And also, we touched on it about people running out of food, or I think there is. You mentioned looting. I think there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of that going on too.
Think of like the bigger grocery store chains that are in there, because right now we have Teresa's mom shop where she already immediately jacked up the prices of
gosh.
everything.
Yeah.
You know, Teresa said it was like Black Friday sale in there.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked that there wasn't looting, because I feel like when you have this kind of high tension situation, that's one of the first things you expect happen in a big city.
Yeah.
Maybe they're saving it.
Well, not yet, because people thought it would only be 48 hours, but now that it's longer, and the longer it goes on, I think we're going to see it.
Because the beginning of this episode was only night 1.
Yeah.
It's true. yeah.
So, you know, the looting might not have started yet.
Right.
That's not to say that it's not going to start.
So we're in day 2, or night 2 now.
I didn't see anything.
I
throughout
thought
this
we were going into night 2. Not day
Yeah.
2, sorry.
We started in day 2 with Miss Katie teaching the kids about the quarantine, and then I think it was nighttime when they were putting the storage containers on. So
Yeah.
this is night 2,
Night 2.
I believe.
Show anything inside these storage containers?
There's
They
nothing
looked
inside.
empty. The
That's
ones.
where all the bodies are gonna go.
Well, that's interesting you
good,
say
eh?
that, because that gets into some predictions a little bit.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So in the previews, we see Lex is doing more press, and people are outraged, and more people are dying, and more people are sick. But we see Dr. Cantors ask Jake to burn the bodies.
I mean, I don't know what else you're supposed to do at this point, because it's not like you have time. The bodies are stacking up faster than you can alert next of kin. Next of kin could be outside of the area. They're also all exposed to a deadly disease that you don't want in the ground, because you don't know what could happen from there. So the best course of action is to burn
That
them
to
all.
me though
Yeah.
spoke more to, you know, what's going on with Dr. Cannerts, because it isn't a police officer's job. It certainly isn't. I don't know how hospitals work, but I know if someone dies, they're not calling in their local cop to burn them in that, what do they call it, crematorium, something like that, where they burn the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does Dr. Cannerts not want to get his hands dirty? Is he trying to save face by saying, yeah, the bodies are there out of respect? It was fishy
Yeah,
to me.
that's fishy. I understand that. I read it more as the doctors are so busy doing other things, trying to save the people, that maybe there's not enough time, or maybe the guy who's in charge of that already died.
Well, it's like, where do you put them at a certain point once they start piling up? In the storage containers, or burning them?
Burn them. Burn them dead, because this
If
is
you
like the
burn them,
plague.
wouldn't that make it airborne?
No, they're
I
doing
would
it
think that would speed things up to definitely making it airborne.
but
If
they're
there's
not just setting an
particles of-
open fire.
Okay.
They're putting them in like the crematorium
That
thing.
machine.
That
Mm.
smoke still has to go somewhere, and someone's still breathing that in.
Oh my gosh.
Ew.
Maybe that's how more people will get infected, and it's unintentional. But like, this guy works for the CDC, so he shouldn't be making wrong decisions like this, right?
It doesn't mean he can't.
Okay. Well, what do you guys, do you have any more predictions about what's going to be coming up in the future?
I know I said that I don't think Sabine has anyone inside the infected area, but I kind of feel like maybe her and Dr. Cannerts are something.
Like a
They work
relationship?
together, like, I don't know. Just there's something about each of them that I don't trust. So now I just want to keep them looped together in the same, because I don't trust them in the same ways. So I'm just thinking their characters are connected in more of a way than we know.
Yeah, I like that.
I've already said that I think Lex is gonna have Xander, you know, go a little undercover, get both of their girls out, and he's gonna try to not show his face. But my prediction, Jake, we've already talked about, a lot of tension. I feel like he's gonna make a bad decision. But I predict he's gonna make a little love triangle. We know you guys are used to it on the vampires and all that shows. Maybe Katie and Jenna, one of them wants to make sure they're kept safe, And, you know, Jake can only protect one at a time. So I feel like that's going to come into play.
Yeah. Well, I hope Jana doesn't do, you know, Lex wrong. But I definitely think that we're going to learn more of their backstory, Jana and
definitely.
Jake, because he kind of, when he found out she was in there, he made a weird face. It could be that they're just friends, but it could be, I will always care for her.
Because then they both also, when they found out the other one was in there, they didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how is she? Like, there was no real read on the emotion that they were feeling in that moment. So I think there's something underlying.
I think they're going to, you know, they're going to touch upon it. Jake is going to be that one who says, look, you're always going to be my ex who's now dating my best friend. That's just on a personal level. That's just going to come into play.
This is a triangle in itself.
Yes.
So I think Toby's going to infect Susie or Dennis. Going to infect somebody. And I think Toby's totally the one that had the party. I might be wrong. It might be another Toby. But Toby was named as the guy with the party house. So I don't know. I'm excited for the next episode. I'm excited for the season. And I'm excited to be back to talk about this. So where can everybody find you guys?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Tiona Hobson. Tweet me. I love to talk about the episodes and see what you got to say.
Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. You guys could catch me all the time on Twitter at Double G on TV.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Katie E.E. Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's. Campbell. Instagram at KatieCampbell13 and YouTube.com/KatieCampbellOnline. I have a vlog, and thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.